It was burning. They were burning fuel by messing about with what they were doing on the grid, so I let them reset their cars. Hello and welcome to the first race in the Ion Season 5 calendar. We're here at the Blue Wallaby Circuit for a race after about 4 years of waiting. We find ourselves with an uprise on pole, which I'm sure for any Season 4 viewers will be an absolute surprise. And today I'm here with Aishan, if he wants to say hello.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Very excited to get going here. It's been a long time, and hopefully we get a nice race.
So yes, obviously as we went through qualifying, we have Silent SLT in the uprise on pole, Alex in the overdrive in P2, Silent's teammate Oz in P3 with the meme lining up in P4. One of the Blue Bulls, Acer, is currently in P5 with the other meme of ASM in P6. The other overdrive of Jumbo Juice lines up in P7 with the first Craig of Junior in P8 and the two KRRs right at the back in P9 and P10. So yeah, I think we're definitely in for an interesting race. It's actually just about to get going. So yeah. Yeah, faster. You can. Oh, yes. Sorry, this commentary might be a bit scuffed as we all get back into the swing of things after a 4 year break. But me and Aisha will try and tell you the stories of the races as well as we can, as Silent points aggressively towards the left here, and the lights are about to turn on.
Yeah, Silent looks to be trying to cover that inside line, trying to get there as fast as possible. Seeing formation up again.
As I guess we're having a formation lap. Yeah, so
Very good.
yeah, I didn't realize this was happening, but that's absolutely fine. Silent on Silent. Yeah, they're gonna have to warm up. They want to warm up these tires. It's just allowing us to check that all of our systems are working and allowing people to get into their engineering modes. And yeah, we're having a few bugs here, so they're just going to respawn the cars and they'll be able to line back up. Thanks to this. I'm not sure if you can see the leaderboard on stream, but it is working, shockingly. As yeah, you can see the Blue Wallaby circuit. Well, it's a bit tough while the action is here, but the last F1 Australian Grand Prix was obviously held 1400 days ago, and Kaikera took the race win there. Obviously, a distant dream for the KR team, which is now down at the bottom of the grid rather than at the front like it was once before. But I guess it has happened. But as you may be able to see, the track has been under renovation since season 3. So the curbs have been improved, the layout's been tweaked here and there, and there's now in fact a lake in the middle. I don't know if you've taken a walk around the lake, if you've had a look, but I think it's been quite nice.
Very lovely, very scenic now, A nice
Yeah.
little lake to sit by, watch the cars go by.
Mm. What? How do you feel? Who do you think has got a shoe in for this race win today?
Personally, I think Silent's up there. He's been very consistent. He's been very quick throughout this whole preseason that we've had. He's definitely a front runner. I feel it. Also, Alex. I know he's a bit further back down there, but Alex has been very good this season or during practice sessions, etc. So hopefully we'll see some pace out of him. I'm not too sure though because we've only really seen drivers go on soft tires and do sort of quality runs. I'm curious to see how these guys' race pace will be.
No, I see what you mean. There were a few drivers in practice that did do a few long runs just to see how the ties were going. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting. As the formation lap is just coming to a close now. They're just slowly making their way around the final few turns.
It wasn't going very slowly. He's speeding away in this formation now.
Fuel modes, obviously, a few updates here. So a few people are complaining about fuel modes. Fuel modes now only change once per lap, so you cannot change them like you did before. They only change once per lap, which is going to be definitely interesting. ERS has had a few twerks, and then I think the most striking thing is obviously the new meshes. So we're now running on the new regulations. Ironically, just as they finish, that shows you how long it took for Ion to get going. But the old cars of yesterday, the long limousine type looking cars, are no more, and now we have the sleeky designs of the 2022 regulations. But as I say that, they have just finished their formation lap. They'll now be looking at the race start. They'll have their eyes on the lights. Their heartbeat will start to rise, and we're gonna get 10 drivers on this grid racing against each other for the first time in 4 years. As eyes are pointed towards the lights. And we wait. Lights are coming on now. As you can see, we've got a nice new GUI here within the game. As we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And it's foot to the floor, and away they go with a massive jump start from Kanye Mellon, who is immediately dropped to the back as he has realized he jump started. There might be a penalty there for him, but Silent immediately striking away with the two memes of Fernand and ASM immediately climbing up. They're now challenging Silent for the lead here. Alex in the overdrive is also in the battle here as Fernand somehow takes the lead. He's on softs. It's important to remember here, he's on softs. Silent is currently on mediums. That's going to give him the advantage at the start. ASM also challenging. Alex also in that race with Oz slowly dropping back due to that tire differential. ASM and Fernand now pushing nice and hard up the field, but Silence just found a sort of a rhythm of his own, and he's getting back towards ASM. ASM almost streaking away as Fernand's trying to join him at the front. He cannot lose touch with his teammate as they come through this sweeping and tightening right-hander. Alex and Silent battling, trying to really battle hard to keep that P3 position. They know that when it comes to a strategy differential, they've got to stay where they are. Fernand now slowly pushing away as ASM pushes into P2, but with Silent right behind.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Coda, soft tires for both Fernand and ASM. Interesting to see how that's going to pan out. They're going to have to try and get a big enough lead here coming up to their pit stops. They're going to have to stop quite early, remember, on those soft tires. So they have to make sure they build up quite a lead here and try and see if they can come out in front of perhaps Silent.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. There's definitely some issues with the leaderboard here. We'll probably have to do some adjustments there, but we'll figure that out as we go. What we can tell you right now is it's definitely Fernand in P1 with ASM in P2 and Silent in P3 here. Silent's going to have to try and stay on the back of these two drivers here because obviously with the tire differential, all he can do is hope to stay in the back. But obviously we've got this four-way battle at the moment for P4. Oz is currently leading it with Alex in P5. And another two drivers just behind them is Asa and I believe that's Senior. And they're just trying to fight it out. But the gaps are slowly appearing here, and they're having to take every line they can, being really careful here. It's almost one by one through this circuit. Obviously, they get their DRS, but they have to be within 1 second of each other. So Oz is no longer going to have DRS. He does seem to have DRS, though. I'm not sure to which car. On board with Oz right here. And Silence just in front of him. So that's where he'll be getting his DRS from. I don't know if that's some team orders from the Uprise team, just pulling Oz along. I don't know what you think, Aishan.
Might just be they would have to work together here, if especially with Fernand and ASM on those softs pulling away. They're looking like they're working together as well. It seems that one of them's gonna be pulling them along. And I wouldn't be surprised to see if the Uprise are going to do the same just to try and keep up with them.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. Um, yeah, it will definitely be interesting here. The softs are going to die out quicker for them, which is going to allow the mediums to come back. But I think these guys are going to look to do the overcut, which traditionally hasn't been the strategy in Ion.
Yep, correct. Speaking of overcut here, in P10 Water Department on the hards, could he be looking to go very long into the race and make a late tire switch? Keep an eye on him. He might not just be out of this race already.
Now, I'll be honest, Water Department is not the cream of the crop of drivers here, but his strategy might allow him to come in and play for some decent points in the upper half here. It'll be interesting to see what happens throughout the race and to see if he's able to get back up there. This is a tough track, and it is one that does sort of shred through the tyres. And as you say, that in practice there wasn't that much different tyre running, so it's a bit of an unknown for every driver here.
Absolutely, it's a major toss-up. That's why I'm not surprised to see a majority of the grid going on mediums here. They're probably the safest tire you can go on. But Fernand and ASM really extending their lead out here. This strategy could be the one.
Well, it could be, but it's important to remember Oz has just set a purple sector one. So it could be that the softs are already dying. As you know, Silent and Oz are obviously settling into this race. They're setting purple sectors here. ASM and Fernand, they're setting maybe yellow and greens for the best of them, which is gonna be an issue for them. It's gonna be an issue for them here. So they can lead out the front, but they need to make sure that they're conserving those ties. They're being really, really careful on them because it could be that Silent and Oz just come back, as they slowly are working together. Silent's now in DRS.
Yeah, Silent is in DRS. We were talking about that those team orders coming into play and just the teammates helping each other to try and catch up. And it's already working here for the Uprise team as the soft tires slowly fade away for the for both Fernand and ASM here. I wonder how they're gonna have to manage those tires to see if they can sort of stick with them because, like you said, tires are gonna die very soon, and they either will be able to stick with them or they fall way to the back.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting here. They are sticking with them, it seems like. They're still staying together. We're on board with Asa, who's trying to chase down Alex as well. You can see here, he's just really trying to get into that slipstream, trying to get past the overdrive driver in front of him. But they are losing touch with the drivers in front of them. The gaps are already forming. Quite an interesting battle we've got here at the front. But as I say, they're forming that gap to Alex down here. Um, and Asa and Alex are going to have an interesting battle, especially with senior staff just behind them. As I
Like you
think
said,
Silent's going for the move here. He's trying to get past ASM here. He might have just got past. It's definitely close. They're going side by side as they go through turn 2 and turn 3. Can he get back past? Are the softs already falling off? And we're only on lap 7. This is a bit of a blunder of a strategy call. It's Fernan in P2 at the moment. Silence trying to get past it. They come through the chicane here. He's staying nice and close. He's trying to take every line he can outside onto that apex and then back onto the outside. Really struggling here. But those softs, they're not meant to last as long as the mediums. And on lap 7, Silence already got his first opportunity.
absolutely. You're talking about the softs dying. If we just compare lap times of previous laps, Fernand previous laps at a 112.5, whereas Silence at a 111.2. That's a big difference. Already the softs seem to have fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, as you said earlier, Silent really is a contender for this race, but he's got to get past Fernand here if he wants to get in touch with ASM. He can't let ASM build that gap so he has a pit stop on Silent. Because at that point, there's nothing he can do with the soft that's going to allow him to get back past. I mean, I'd say the gap it's a bit tough to say at the moment, but the gap is a good maybe 3 seconds. So he's got to clear the first of the two memes here to try and get into P1. His teammates right behind him, so if they can both get past, they can work together.
Absolutely. And Fernand actually previous lap was 2 times faster than Silent was, but Silent looks to make a move here, coming into this hairpin and then to the chicane, just trying to find some way past to try and go and catch up to ASM, who's really enjoying this now, who's able to get away with to the lead. Silent looks to be making a move, and I think he is ahead now.
He has, but that has allowed Fernand to get DRS. So they need both drivers past Fernand so they can help one another stay in front of him because it's going to be really tough here. He's got to build either that gap out so he can get back to ASM, or he's got to get his teammate past so they can work as an almost DRS train, helping each other, getting forwards. The Uprise team, the teammates are very close, both of them, Silent and Oz. They've known each other through the IFR days, so they do work together well. But saying that, ASM has just slowed down, which has allowed Fernand to get DRS here.
That could be very good for Ferdinand to try and stay ahead of these two, but I don't know how long with those tires slowly starting to die. I don't know how long that could be. ASM, he either slowed down or he's starting to lose a bit of pace here. As Silent gets by Ferdinand here, Oz is going to be looking to do the same, heading into the chicane. Ferdinand well behind now.
Yeah, he has now dropped off after that pass. He's going to be into the clutches of Oz. This is looking good for the Uprise team at the moment, as they've made the right strategy call here. Meme, they have built a gap out to the rest of the grid. I don't know if they were expecting to compete with Uprise today, but it is working out. It is working out quite well for Uprise right now, just as Oz makes the move. Obviously, Meme last season was Uprise's junior team. But throughout the off-season, in between Season 4 and Season 5, there was a split, an amicable split between Daytona Outlaw and Eggety, which has led to the two separate teams. And obviously, no love has been lost, as I believe that's Fernand now coming into the pit lane.
It is Fernand. And another thing to note here, Silent now has DRS on ASM, and it might be a whole different story now. Because now and Fernand's on the hards. Fernand has gone on to the hards.
I guess he'll be trying to make it to the end. I don't know if he's aware that he doesn't have to use two different tire, unlike in real life. But he has pitted onto the hards. But the battle for P1, I think, is just about to pick up. As Silent's just closing in here. As Aishan said earlier, I think he's got the DRS now. We'll just be able to see through here. He has got the DRS, so he's nice and close. He's closing in. They're coming towards that tighter right-hander. Will he be able to get past it? It looks like he's just got to stay behind here. Let's have a look. Can he get past? No. Yes, maybe. Oh, he's right. He's right on the tail of ASM here. Will he be? He's just got to stick behind here. Is ASM going to go into the pit lane like his teammate? Yes, he is. What's he going to pit for? I reckon it's going to be hards.
You think they're going to do the same strategy?
I think they will. I think they're going to try and go to the end here.
ASM stopped deep, I think. He did, yes. He stopped deep into his pit box, having to reverse now.
That's a horrible, horrible incident for the meme.
And yes, you were right. You were right that he goes onto the hards, but that's lost him critical amounts of time.
That's horrible for the meme racing team. His teammate is now past him, so I imagine a tiny bit of that will be the undercut, and a tiny bit of that will be him having to reverse in the pit lane. But that's horrible for the meme racing team. They needed every bit of lap time they could get, and after that, that's just not going to work out for them.
Absolutely. Now it's 1-2 for Uprise. I wonder what's going to happen here. Will they work together to try and see if they can build a larger gap on the drivers behind, or will they fight to see who can get into the race lead?
It's definitely tough to say. The gaps are not correct, so it's not Mr. Macho Globe behind them, but I believe they are correct between Silent and Oz, which means Oz currently does not have DRS. Now, really, they need Oz to get back into Silent's DRS so he can help to pull his teammate along, but they can't have Silent slow down because they need that time to stay ahead of the meme racing cars. They can't. There's going to be an undercut here, and it's very likely that the meme racings will get back past the two Uprises, but they've got to stay as close as possible, coming towards their pit stops. As Oz just slightly hits that anti-CC through the chicane.
I'm really wondering how much ASM would be able to stick with his teammate now, considering that mistake he made. They are catching up onto a train here with DRS, so hopefully this will help them catch up quite a bit. They have the DRS in this little train here, and hopefully that gets them the time they need to sort of get back in front of the Uprises.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really interesting, not just an interesting race, but a really interesting team battle. What we can see here is it's not becoming this sort of just sprint to the finish, but it's instead this interesting fight where the two teammates are working together, which is helping these strategies develop. I think it's going to shape up to be a really interesting season. There's been a lot of talk about other leagues coming in, taking some of the drivers, and yes, there has been a little bit of a drop in activity, but we're seeing this interesting team play where people are working out together. As we've just completely missed that Oz has randomly gone into the pit lane and pitted for hards.
That is what you'd like to call
As
a
have Silent,
curveball.
as has Silent. They're both on hards now.
That is an interesting strategy call made by the Uprise team. Not one that was expected. They do not have to go to the other tires. They could have stayed on the medians where we've seen they've had really good places. Alex has made a mistake there. I think he hit a curb or something. But like I was saying, they were the uprises were very fast on the mediums. I'm not too sure why they would switch onto the hards, but we have to see
I
what they decide to do.
Yeah, I guess especially for Silent, who's maintained his position, he's still. I believe he's currently in P2, but he's in net 3. He's net P1. He's maintained that gap to ASM. He's still ahead of the meme racing driver, and he's on better tires now. So as long as he can make it to the end, unless meme racing have something to pull out of the bag, this is a guaranteed win for the Uprise driver. But the question is, can his teammate get past? It looks like he can. He's now battling with Fernan. He's got a few lap fresher tyres. If he can get past ASM and start building out that gap, it's going to look quite nice for an Uprise 1-2.
Acer and Alex into the pits now, both pitting for the medium tires. These two, I've been watching them. They've been battling back and forth while we've been talking about the leaders in the front. These two have been at it the whole race, wondering how they're. I wonder how they're gonna end up finishing. They've been neck and neck this entire time.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be, I think, a close and interesting race here. Maybe not on the Silent front, as it looks like he's got his P1 wrapped and under control. Oz has just got past Fernan here, and he has got DRS, so he should be able to use that to defend. Is he going to get past ASM as well? It looks like he has just got past ASM as well. So that's going to allow him to hopefully streak away from the two meme racing drivers, but they will be able to work together here.
That is correct. Silent is nowhere to be seen, so Oz has no help from his teammate here. We talked about the teammate game this whole race. There's no teammate for Oz here. It's just gonna have to be pure pace for him. Both of the beam racings have DRS on him, trying to make a move down into turn one. I think Fernand might just have a move. Where's that ASM? They're both right on his gearbox. This is gonna be quite the battle for second. 3 cars into it.
Yeah, it's definitely a really interesting race. They're coming down towards that chicane there. This is where it'll make or break it. This is where Oz has to use his fresher tyres. These two other drivers just have to hold on. It's a really interesting race here. Yeah, it's a bit hard to commentate over no collide racing, but they're coming towards that chicane again. It looks like Fernand's just in front. Oz in the middle with ASM just behind. He's going to get that DRS now. Yes, he is. He's going to overtake Fernand. Fernand's just going to have to stay in that slipstream. ASM just behind, coming towards that tight right-hander. Is he going to be able to build the gap here, or is he going to be overtaken again coming down that main straight?
The ASM back there, he's falling back quite a bit. ASM, he was right on the rear wing of both Fernand and Oz, but now I'm not too sure what happened, but he is a few seconds back, doesn't have DRS anymore either.
I believe he got a penalty for corner cutting.
We did see him go quite wide there, in the long sweeping left-hander. So that'd be good for Oz. He has just one car to worry about at the moment, as ASM's quite a bit far back.
Indeed, yeah, it's going to be really tough for him to catch up now. So the battle is really between Fernand and Oswick, but it's just settling down now, as it seems like Oswick's being able to just stay ahead, which is good for the Uprise team. They want as many points as they can from this season opener. I've got a bit of inside knowledge. I know that Silent was complaining a little bit about this track. He's not a big fan of Australia, And in fact, his teammate looked like he was going to outclass him especially in the early practice sessions. But Fernand is just getting past now. Is he going to be overtake? They're coming up on an overdrive here. I think it's water department. That's good for Oswick because it allows him to get that DRS, but they get past the back marker pretty quick. I think Oz is still in P2. Fernand's still in P3, but he's really trying to battle to get past that driver. Because neither of them have DRS, weirdly enough.
Both of them are neck and neck. Funny enough, Oz was 4 tenths of a second slower, in fact, than Fernand was that previous lap, but they are still very close together as Fernand still trying to look for a move. But those these tires are slightly older. Maybe that's hindering him slightly as we head into the chicane here. Oz still ahead by about a car length's worth into the chicane, and then now the hairpin. Oz is just slowly, I think, building that gap. But Fernand looking to challenge now, going into the chicane, and now the long left-hander.
Yeah, indeed. It's definitely an interesting race here. Fernand just in front, but that does give Oz the DRS down
ASM
there.
in the back.
ASM again really struggling through that double right-hander, a double apex. A few drivers take it a few different ways. I've seen them take it as a double apex. I've seen them take it as a go out wide and cut back in, but ASM's really struggling there. And Oz seems like he's just maintaining the gap in front of Fernand. It's really tight. Fernand's just ahead. So currently Fernand in P2, Oz in P3. Nope, Oz in P2 again.
None of them have DRS again for a second lap in a row. ASM's slowly starting to catch them now. You can see him right at the back there. And Oz now once again ahead. He seems to have the edge on Fernand this first part of the track. Screen froze there for a second. Oz is still ahead.
It's definitely. It looks like Oz is now maintaining that gap. He's able to just sort of get in a rhythm and sort of settle down here, which is good for him. It's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to be able to just settle down, try and get into a rhythm and get past these drivers.
Speaking of getting to rhythm, Silent up ahead, nowhere to be seen. He's really extending his lead. You say Australia is on his favorite track, but right now I think it might just be. Oz.
Yeah, he's really doing quite well here. Oz is just gonna have to. I think he's just gonna have to put up with being sort of under pressure for Fernand here. He's able to build the gap. ASM is slowly coming back at him, but obviously ASM's being a little more dodgy about these cuts, which might lead to him getting another penalty. So Oz just has to get out of this DRS now if he wants to look at getting this P2 or trying to get back into where Silent is.
Absolutely. You're talking about the cuts there for ASM. He is getting quite a bit of cuts, but he seems to recover quite amazingly from them. Just a few laps ago, he was a few seconds down, and already now he's back into DRS with Fernand, which is very good for the meme racing team as they can both sort of try and help each other and attack Oz here. But will those cuts end up hindering him in the end?
Yeah, Oz is definitely in a situation where he is a lone driver against two drivers that are working together and are trying to get past him. They've both got DRS on him, but they're still struggling to get by, which is good for Oz. It means that he can keep maintaining that gap to them, and he can keep trying to work, sort of put the lap times in that he needs to do to stay in P2.
Absolutely correct. You're talking about putting lap times in, and he's really putting lap times in. He's been lapping consistently faster than Fernand by a couple of tenths a lap. But will that DRS affect it? As ASM makes a move on Fernand, goes ahead of his teammate, and now maybe he's going to try and lead the charge.
Yeah, that might have been team orders. It might have been a battle here, but one's had a crack. It's time for the other one to have a go now. ASM, I'd say, is probably the faster driver of the two meme racing drivers. Obviously, they're both very skilled drivers in P3 and P4. It looks like one of them, at least one of them, if not both, will be on the podium. But they really need to try and get past that up racing driver now. But they're battling with each other, which is slowing them down. They have that slipstream, which means they have dirty air going into the corners. It adjusts their braking position, gives them slightly more tyre wear because they've got a little bit less grip. And it means they just can't settle down in the same way that Oz is able to in that clean air.
Oh, once again, ASM with the penalty. It's really affecting him. These penalties are going to add up. And once again, he loses so much time to Fernand just as he was starting to get ahead of his teammate.
And it's a bit of a shame for us because it takes away from the race, but you've got to be fair. You can't have someone cutting all the track. So, yeah, that means ASM now dropping back again. He's going to have to try and catch back up to Fernand, who does have the DRS on Oz, but it can't be by much.
It's very close, especially those little bit of battling they did on the previous lap really slowed them down quite a bit, and because of that, they've lost a couple of tenths here to Oz, who look how far ahead he's gotten because of it.
Yeah, that's very good for Oz. It's going to allow him to really calm down here. As long as he doesn't make any mistakes, he can just drive a nice, clean, consistent race. And yeah, I think it's been a bit of a boring strategy, to be honest. The Uprise team got it right. The the meme racings unfortunately didn't, but it's definitely interesting. I think Silent might be conserving tires, or Slipstream is very strong because a lapped car is currently able to keep up with him.
One of the two things. I really wonder how this race would have gone if both the meme racing starting on the medium tire. Would the race have been different? Would they be closer? We never know, because they really started to slow down quite a bit at the end of the first stint there for them. I wonder if they'd be a bit closer to signing now, as ASM back onto the DRS of Fernand, gets past him, sails past his teammate, and now he's going to once again lead the charge to try and pass Oz.
He's a rapid driver. He's really quick, and it allows him to just keep getting back. But he is just using a lot of those cuts, which is really not helping him because he doesn't want to be. It's tough. It's really tough to keep the car on the track sometimes. But it's holding him back because every time he gets towards Fernand, they have that battle, and then he just drops back because he's got a penalty.
It really is a shame because he is a very fast driver. Just fortunately, he's just lacking the little bit of consistency to keep the car on the track just for a little bit of time. As you can see, they do not have DRS. Both of these guys have to work very hard to get back into the DRS of Oz, and hopefully ASM can do it without getting any CCs.
Indeed. It's definitely interesting for them. He's just got to try and keep his head down, be consistent, and be calm. Oz may be playing second fiddle to his teammate, but that does not mean he's a bad driver at all. He's definitely one of the fastest drivers at the moment in Ion, and ASM's definitely got to try and catch up. It's almost like Bottas with Hamilton. People forget how good of a driver Bottas really was. And it means that Oz is very similar in that regard. And it means that ASM's he's really got his work cut out to get past the driver in front of him.
Absolutely, as well, especially because of the fact that Oz is coming up on a back marker. I think I saw which means he would, if he gets two in a great part of the track, he'll get DRS. He'll get the slipstream, which is very good for him because he can then extend his lead, which already is going a bit wider than the chicane, but his lead is already a couple seconds, it seems, to Meme Racing's in the back there, as he's slowly catching Junior, who's a lap car, and perhaps on the straight here, in the back straight, he'll be able to get some DRS to get the gap a bit bigger.
It would be good. It would be good if they could. If he could, he's really going to be under threat from ASM soon, and he has just got a CC himself. He doesn't want to be getting a penalty. He's got to be very careful here. Obviously, with Fernand and ASM close behind, he's got to be very careful. He does not want to get a CC, but he has got DRS down that straight, and he'll be hoping to get past through this corner so it doesn't affect him too much. ASM is ahead of his teammate now, so that will allow him to try and get nice and close to the driver.
Oz has quite a few back markers coming up now. That means he could get quite a bit of DRS, which would be very good for him. And in the back here, slowly, ASM seems to. I don't know if it's whether it's the tires or what, but he makes a mistake there in the chicane. But he's slowly just losing time to Oz here as the race is coming to a close.
Oz has got to be careful here. He's got to get past this back marker. But I mean, you say, yeah, the race is about to come to a close. It's been a quick, fast race. We haven't really realised because there's been a lot of action all the way through. Silent has obviously we haven't checked in with our leader for a while, but he is ruling out in the front. He is demonstrating what skill he really does have. His teammate Oz, good 8-10 seconds back from him. with ASM now dropping back a little bit from Oz here. Fernan just behind. None of them. I think Fernan still has DRS on. Yes, he does. He has DRS on ASM, but ASM does not have DRS to Oz, which will be, I'm sure, a happy sight for the Uprise driver. But nothing is guaranteed yet. One mistake and Oz could be into the grips of ASM here.
Absolutely, but I think Oz just has to keep it on the road now. He can breathe a big sigh of relief. These two meme racings, they were on his back for laps and laps and laps. Finally, he's able to get a good lead on them, and he can just sort of breathe and relax like Silent does right now and just bring this car home.
Yeah, I don't think he's under too much pressure at the moment because he can't really see the gap to ASM behind, and he is aware of the driving behind having to take it slightly more easily than he was earlier due to his having 2 penalties. But as you say, you don't know what's going to happen. ASM's just got to if ASM keeps it on the road, he could gain that speed. It could happen as Fernand goes slightly wide at that hairpin, which might show that the tires are dying off for them.
Absolutely. I think we are coming to that point in the race now where we're almost 10 laps left to go, and they would start to slowly die now. But we'd have to see who can manage these tires better. We never know. All's gonna have a really tough time on these tires. Like I said, no one's really been testing these hard tires in practice, so we don't know who's good at sort of conserving them.
Well, Fernand's tires are slowly starting to drop off. His lowest percent is a whole percent less than Oz, which means his tires are slightly worse than his teammates. Than ASM's. Oz is doing okay on his tires. He's got better tires than ASM does at the moment. And Silent out in front has quite nice tires as well. The teammates have pretty similar tires, probably due to the fact they've pitted at the same time. They seem to be conserving them. They seem to be, and I'd say this is worrying to see that Uprise is not driving at their full potential. They're just conserving these tires. They're just doing it slowly. And with 10 laps left of the race, nothing's over. To be honest, if I was ASM in this situation, he knows he has the pace and he's got 10 laps to go. I would pit onto those medium tires and I'd really have a go at trying to get past P2 that way. As Fernand might have just taken my advice, he comes into the pit lane. What tire is he going to go on to? He goes onto the mediums, and now we've got an interesting battle on our hands.
Absolutely. Fernand, we know, is a vastly experienced driver, very quick. We've seen him excel in previous seasons, and he's going to have to use all of experience, all of his pace that he has. With these final 10 laps, he's going to have to push this car like mad to see if he can catch up to that Uprise in P2.
I tried to do this strategy once in Season 4 during GT3 with the third wheel. During the first race, we were up against Sever, who was leading. Or he wasn't leading, he was closing in on us. So I said to the third wheel, I said, pit for softs, and we'll have a really good go at him. And unfortunately, we did the call too late. But I think Fernand's got a really good opportunity here. I think if he's just calm, and if he just puts in the lap times he needs, he could set the fastest lap, he could go on these qualifying runs. And I'm not saying he's going to win the race, but he's got a really good opportunity, possibly at overtaking his teammate, who is also just coming to the pit lane, or overtaking Oz for P2.
Well, ASM gets the pit stop done right this time. Good job on him. He goes on to the soft tires. So now we have two meme racings on two different strategies. Fernand does not go past his teammate. ASM is in front. So ASM is going to be the lead meme racing here to try and catch up to Oz in P2. But we're going to have to see.
Going to be interesting to see if Oz tries to hold on. He might come into the pits this lap.
He might just. I wonder if ASM, his tires will die at the end. If you go back to the beginning of the race, their tires did start. The soft tires did start to die after, I'd say, 6-7 laps. So I wonder if the mediums was a better choice than the softs.
Well, we saw that the mediums were very competitive at the start of this race. They very quickly came into overtaking the softs. I'm totally not contributing to my team strategy right now. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. Oh, Silent's doing his silent thing. Silent has currently stopped on the race. I don't know why he stopped. He's driving again. He seems to always do this in every race ever. He's decided he wants to go AFK, so he's gone AFK. Decides he wants to challenge himself and try and get past Oz. He's obviously not taking this seriously because I would I tell you I just don't think it's very good from the British youngster. But he was leading the race. Maybe this will give Oz the chance to win, or it might give ASM and Fernan the chance to get past.
Very. So apologies. I'm at a bit of a loss for words. He was cruising out in front. I guess you're right. Maybe he wants to challenge himself, but it would look a bit embarrassing if he is not able to catch up to his teammate here. I'm not saying he can't, but I'm just saying it's a bit of an interesting call.
It definitely is an interesting call. It's definitely a very interesting call. I'm just looking at the difference in lap times between Oz and ASM, and ASM actually isn't making that big of an impact on the British driver. Then again, Oswig's just set a very slow lap. I'm not 100% sure but why. And he's passed ASM, but he's on the soft tyres. So he has just boxed to go 7 laps on the softs. So ASM is currently leading the way. Silent is once again leading the way on those hard tyres with his teammate on softs in P3 and ASM also on softs in P2.
Not too sure what happened to Fernand. He's really dropped back quite far now. But as you said, we have got some excitement here now. Late pit stops, potentially some late drama. I saw earlier on the previous lap, ASM said a purple sector 1. He definitely has the pace, but how is Oz going to react to that? He's now on the soft tires. He's on the fresher tires. Is he going to be able to get by?
I think we saw earlier in the race.
Silent in the pits. Apologies. Silent is in the pits.
Silent in the pit lane. My engineer just lied to me as he reverses as well. This guy's not having a great time. He's might have just sold his entire race because Oz is past him. ASM is past him. It's gonna be an interesting one. It's gonna be an interesting one.
That's 2 drivers we've seen today stop long into their pit boxes, lose quite a bit of time. The first one was ASM, who's currently battling for the race lead from Oz, and now our old race leader Silent, who, like you said, Coda, might have just lost this race because of that.
Yeah, but Oz is now past, and it looks like ASM's tires might be slowly dropping off. Fernan has overtaken Silent though, which is not good. Not good for him. I think he will make it onto the podium, but I do not think he will win this race.
Potentially, that's not what you want to see from your driver. Maybe some words to him afterwards. As Silent does have DRS on Fernand, he has the fresher tires. Let's see what he can do. ASM, I think his tires are just a couple. It's just that couple laps. The couple laps difference is what's really affecting ASM here. Like I said, these tires do start to drop off after a few laps, and those few laps are counting right now.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough for Oz to win this race. He is past. Silent is now past Fernan. He's got a lot of time to make up if he wants to get past ASM. He just needs to keep his eyes down, try and get up to ASM, and try and help his teammate win this race, because I don't think he's got an opportunity now. But he's battling with Fernan as they come through turn 1, 2, 3, and 4. But he has just made it in front now, and he's just got to keep his head down now.
Oz goes fastest in the first sector. He is really on it now. ASM just not being able to keep up here. He's slowly losing time on him. But do not forget about Silent here. He does have the freshest tires on the track, and potentially in the last couple of laps, those fresher tires could really help him catch up to maybe P2. It'd be difficult for him to catch up to P1, but P2 is not off the cards yet for Silent.
Well, then again, do just remember Silent's fuel here. Silent's currently only on 16% fuel here, so it's going to be really tough for him to make it up. But then again, looking at Oz as well, he's also only on 15% fuel. It's going to be really tough for these guys. They're actually having to really manage their fuel. Fernand on 12% fuel, so it's slightly different for him. It could be that Fernand doesn't make it to the end here because he's currently on Ridge. He's really going to have to look at his fuel here. ASM as well. ASM currently on 9.85. So the uprises definitely have the fuel advantage here. Let's see what the meme racings do here.
That goes back to my point earlier that I made in this race, where we have not seen many people do longer race runs, and because we've not seen that, they're not too sure how the fuel. Forget the tires. The fuel is a whole completely different story. They've not tested much of the fuel, and now it's going to be really a race to see who is not going to run out of fuel first. And right now, the meme racing seem to be losing that race.
Yeah, ASM is currently on 8.5% fuel. Now 10% was what they were doing on 2 hot laps. 2 hot laps would be about 10% fuel, maybe 8% fuel. He's currently got 2 laps in him with 3 laps to go. He's got to be very careful here. He can make it to the end, but he's going to have to lift off. Silent doesn't have that. He's got a good 20% fuel. He could look at going in hot lap soon. He's currently at 12% fuel. I don't know why he's still in lean, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Silent might be saving that fuel. You said it takes 10% for 2 hot laps. The final 2 laps of the race, he might be saving that fuel for a massive charge. And I think ASM, unfortunately, he's gonna have to just let go of his shot to win unless he can stay within DRS, because that fuel, he's gonna have to go into the lower fuel mixes here just to try and make it to the end. He might have to let this race win go and just settle for a second place.
Yeah, I mean, he's still in Rich. He's still trying to catch up with Oswick here. But at some point, he's got to realize that he is going to run out of fuel. And he's got to calm down. He's got to let it go. He's at 5.7 at the moment. He might make it on Rich. I don't know what his plan is here.
He is ahead of Oz going into the first corner here with 3 laps to go. Maybe his plan is just to stay within DRS and try and make a move on the last lap. That's his best shot here if he's going to make it to the end. But he really seems to not be worried about his fuel too much, and I'm concerned for him.
It's going to be close. It's going to be really tight for both of them. He's currently on 4.7. I don't think he's going to make it.
I do not think so. It might just be an uprise 1-2 because of fuel. Silent, I don't know if he's going to be able to catch. He's just entering the first chicane now, whereas Oz and ASM are leaving the second one. ASM is in front of Oz, it seems. Not sure why.
Well, ASM has just gone back on lean. Oz has a lot more fuel here. It could be that he makes it just to the line. He's got 3% to manage him 3 laps. I think this is going to be really tough for him.
Could he have realized that fuel?
It's going to be really tough here for him. Fernand's having to lift off. Fernand's fuel. It just isn't there anymore. It's just not there. He's got 5%. ASM has less. He has 3%. It's going to be really tough here. He's got 2.9%. And he's got to make it another 2 laps here. He's got to start lifting. He's got to start considering lifting.
Who would have thought that the Australian Grand Prix would be a fuel mileage race? It's going to become really close for these 2 drivers to make it to the end. I think ASM, Fernand might just make it, but I think ASM realized too late, and now might just not make it.
It's going to be really tough. Silent is looking at 7.15, and he's in Rich, so he's got a little bit to play with here. ASM just doesn't. He just doesn't. He has nothing to play with. I don't know if he'll make it to the end. I'm fairly sure he will now. It's going to be tough. He's at 1.2. He's at 1.2.
1.2 with about, I'd say, a lap and a quarter left. And you can see how far back he is now if you see the difference.
Yeah, he's at less than 1% now. I think this is going to be it. This is going to be it for ASM. He's dropping behind Silent. He's lifting and coasting. He's lifting and coasting. And it's a real shame because we've been cost for a real battle here, but that's what happens when you don't manage your fuel, I guess. Fernand dropping behind Acer as well.
Acer, maybe just a surprise podium for the Blue Bulls. Acer might just make it to the end, and he's going to be able to pass ASM. and he's gonna hopefully get on the podium for Blue Bull.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm surprised. There's ASM currently on 0.5% of fuel. His engineer will be screaming at him, saying, "Everything you've got, this is everything you've got." He's running that car on fumes. I don't know what he's going to do with the FIA mandated fuel test. I don't know if we have that in Ion, but he's having to very slowly bring it home. His teammates now passed him. This is a horrible result for ASM here. He thought he had more in the tank than he did. Oswick now coming across the line, and they called it downfall during season 4. Well, it's not downfall anymore, as Uprise wins the season opener with a 1-2 finish.
Could you imagine a better way to start off your season? Acer, surprise podium for Blue Bull. He has been under the radar the whole race, and he managed to get a P2 or P3, apologies. What a great way to start the season for not only Blue Bull, but Uprise. 1-2 to start this off, coming from a season where they were close to last in season 4 to 1-2 now. It must be a great feeling. It's a massive shame for the meme racings though. They had the pace. Maybe the strategy was different. Maybe the fuel. There's a lot of ifs, but they just unfortunately did not have it today. Just about.
Yeah, it was definitely a really interesting race in the end. And what a shocker. What a shocker is what I'll say. It was really interesting to see what happened there. And well done to the Uprise team for managing their fuel better. No one was expecting this. No one was expecting this, I'd say. It looked like Silent had sold it when he went AFK and when he decided to pit. And yeah, wow, well done.
Any thoughts on Silent there? You think he should have won this race?
Silent always goes AFK in every race he ever does. I have no comment. He's such a silly Billy sometimes.
Good for the team though, at least. That's
Yeah,
still
yeah,
1-2.
yeah. It's very good for the team. Very good for the team. I'm obviously an unbiased commentator, but I think that was a really interesting and fun race to watch. Fun race.
Absolutely. It's a lot of ifs. So you could, for meme racing, what if they were on the same strategy as Uprise? What if they managed their fuel a bit better? I wonder how this race would have panned out. Because we saw at points they were quite a bit faster at points in this race. But then again, they were just both the guys were not able to get past Oz in that middle stage of the race where he kept defending against both of them. So who knows?
Whoops. Yeah. Really interesting. Um, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens throughout the season.
If that's the standard of racing we're gonna get, I'm not gonna complain too much. That came down to the wire.
Yeah, really interesting. Really interesting. And while they set up the podium, I'm gonna quickly go silent in VC because I'm not joining another VC to say anything. Nope.
Definitely not. Great race though. I'm very surprised by Acer able to come from absolutely nowhere. That whole race, we hadn't really talked about it much. He was by himself the whole race, and whether it be luck or whether it be strategy, the podium fell into his lap, and I'm sure he'd be a very, very happy camper.
Yeah, really interesting. To get the final classification for anyone confused. So in P1 you have Oswick, P2 Silent SLT, P3 Acer, P4 Fernan, P5 Macho, P6 Alex, P7 ASM, P8 Junior, P9 Senior, and P10 is Water Department.
Just a bit of fun fact for you here. The Blue Bulls, they were previously known as McLaren in Ion. That is their first podium since season 3 Canada, when Dakar raced for them for a race and managed to win. That is the second podium for Fat Patrol's team.
Yeah, really good for the team slot there.
Fortunately, they did not have their second driver. I'm pretty sure that their second driver would be. I think he was busy with something, but who knows how that would have been? Because their second driver is fast. He is very, very fast.
Yeah, it was a tight race, but it was interesting, and the strategy played out nicely, I thought.
Strategy was a very interesting part of this race. The early pit stops from both the meme racings, as well as the late pit stops that we had from pretty
Yeah.
much the whole top four.
To talk about the podium in P3, we have the Porsche Blue Bull driver of Acer, who's for some reason standing on the P1 slot. In P2, the man who led much of the race from Uprise. Oh, they've got quite a nice race suit there. And finally, in P1, after taking a weird a weird turn, they take the race, and they're now able to take the race. It's from Uprise ZLR, and it's Mr. Oswick.
Interesting finish there. The I don't think Oz would be complaining though. He gets the win. Same order. It's a still 1-2 for Uprise here, but I wonder if Silent would have wanted that win more.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting for Silent. I'm sure he might be slightly disappointed as to what could have been. He wants to launch a championship hunt this season, as I'm sure every driver does. But it looks like his teammate will be taking the top step today.
This really was a Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton moment, huh? The
Yeah,
champion
well,
who you didn't expect.
yeah, it definitely has been interesting. And I'm sure Oswick will be happy to pick up the first race, the first race win of the season.
First race win in over 4 years as well.
Ah,
Around 4 years.
sorry, I'm just writing up the results. But yeah, thank you very much for watching the stream. I hope you enjoyed the first race, and if you stay tuned, it'll be on a different stream, I'm sure, but you can stay tuned to watch the Formula Junior race coming up at 2:20. Sorry, not 2:20 p.m. EST. It'll be slightly later now. And please do stay tuned for that. But from me, British Kota, from Aishan, goodbye.
Thank you very much.